It's the firstborn son here.
Just as long as you're not eating or,
I
sipping
don't do
hot
that.
tea.
I don't do that.
You don't eat and drag. Duh. You suck dick.
I literally had to. It's a real.
So, I got some jokes.
Of course. Uh-huh.
You want to hear them? You want to hear them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear my eyes rolling?
Yeah. The eyes are firmly pointed at the back of your skull. What sort of makeup do ghosts wear?
I don't know. What do they, Nathan?
Mascara.
Gross.
What does a panda...
One of these days you're going to make me laugh.
One of these days. One of these days. Here's a good one. Where do ghosts buy their food?
The Booker Market. I don't know.
No, at the ghostery store.
That's just as shitty of a pun as I came up with. That joke, bro.
Oh my god.
Where do ghosts buy their clothes?
I don't know.
At the boutique. Whoa. See how you feel after that joke, Nathan?
No, you see, you're just killing it now. I mean, like, you could... I can think of spaghetti. They eat that. Or do they, what's their favorite dessert? Blueberry pie. But, like,
What a rebuttal. Oh, yeah? Well, what about spaghetti? Bitch, you got me there.
Is it vegan? Is it vegan? Hi.
Hi. I'm supposed to say hi, Nathan, for the 9th time, bro. Holy shit.
Okay.
Hi, I'm the Angry Princess, and I want to be in the sequel.
And I guess the Jackal, because I'm going crazy listening to all your stupid shit that you spout out. And I don't want to be in the sequel, because I hate them.
Coming from the person with a list of dad jokes in front of them. He's my ass, bro.
And you're listening to...
They're Here. Podcast.
A discussion.
Disembowelment.
Of all things horror.
Fear. And macabre.
I think we either add that part in or we don't.
Also, we have booked that first little disembowelment dissection. Something always gets messed up there. Yeah. But hey, there's a certain charm to it.
We're that kind of echo thing that either you do or I do, or we randomly do it together. We're one away from doing that theme from fucking Friday the 13th.
It's so good. I don't know. I think it sounds like I don't know, seductive or spooky or something like that.
Well, speaking of spooky.
See? Did that sexy?
It sounds terrible. It just sounds like you have a horrible, terrible connection.
Connection. Okay.
Well, speaking of spooky anyway, we have an amazing movie with you for you guys today. What is it? Because I forgot.
13 Ghosts.
Oh yeah, that movie.
We're kind of going back to same year as Jeepers Creepers, 2001 and early 2000s. Nostalgia fest for us, I guess.
The good old days, man. 2000s. Ain't nothing like it. Simpler times. Simpler storylines. Simpler plot lines.
Sample to a T. Holy shit. And that's not a read, but goddamn. I fully remember so much more happening in this movie than it actually does.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said to me earlier, because when I was watching this, I was looking at it and I was remembering a lot of things about the plot, the ghosts, the scares and blah blah blah, and I was just remember the whole point is the shit hits the fan in less than 15 minutes into the film, and
literally
it just keeps going until 30 minutes more. And then we're at the climax. It's a short movie. It's just over like, I think it's like
it's literally
90 minutes?
Literally 91 minutes.
91 minutes. Yeah. It's like right on that dot. So yeah,
which I think is like I don't know, it's a good length for like a nice popcorn movie, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it doesn't take too long. It's kind of like the current trend in cinema, which is like, make it 4 hours long, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Where we want to drag out
3.5 hour long movie. Jesus Christ. I always think of that David Lynch quote where there's like a behind the scene clip from him on Twin Peaks, whatever like that, and he's like, who gives a fucking shit how long an episode is?
Well, it is directed by Steve Beck. He was these types of directors who, I don't want to say he was typecast, but like his only other movies was Ghost Ship, and there was one other film, can't remember, but yeah, he's like, he did those movies where it was just basically the same thing. It was horror. It was really kind of, I want to say, cheap.
This was like in that weird little era of kind of a weirdly like underrepresented thing in horror, and not many people speak about it, which is like William Castle movies, like House of Wax, 13, like the original 13 Ghosts, House on Haunted Hill, which I also really want to get to one day, because those three to me, well, maybe not House of Wax, but like House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts, I always like associate really close to, and Ghost Ship as well. I really associate those movies like all together.
Yeah,
as, like,
the early 2000s.
Kind of like first wave for me at least, like horror remakes of like classics from the past, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like the people would like classify as like the Texas Chainsaw remake, which came 2 years after this, as like where it all started for like horror remakes and how all this shit like starting up. But like I think it was these for sure.
Yeah, like the early 2000s was definitely like that type of era where you started to see those sort of remakes come around, and like I looked at this film when I first seen it and I always thought, wow, you know, very, very, very scary, and I guess the scares kind of pointed away from how slow and crap the plot was, but it was just really good. And like 13 Ghosts is really... Yeah, it's one of those films that like we, at least us two, we never forgot, because it just did stuff that like at least right up until that point I hadn't seen.
You know, it like definitely really stuck with me. This is one of the ones I remember. I like vividly remember the trailer, like seeing like the scenes of the house and all that kind of stuff, and just being like, oh shit, like that's totally one of the ones I like really want to see.
Yeah.
And like I actually remember my mom went to go see this with like some of her girlfriends, and that was like not my mom's MO at all. My mom is so not like a horror movie person.
Yeah.
You know? And I remember being like, oh shit, like she totally went to go see that.
Didn't she like walk out of it or something?
No, my mom is no bitch, okay?
This movie, like, how do we even start? There's a good few things like we want to talk about, which we go through, as I mean pretty much we have, but like, yeah, there's really quite a lot to kind of start this film off with. I mean, first of all, that kind of opening scene in the junkyard was probably, out of everything, was probably the scariest scene, and also the goriest, like the bloodiest scene in the film.
I don't know. It seemed the most Scooby-Doo to me.
Really?
And not just because Matthew Lillard is right there. Yeah.
Matthew Lillard. Like, wow. How do we, like, overacting.
One of my original crushes, who's like super, who so isn't. He's such a frog in this movie. Like, he's so irritating. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He sort of chews up the like scenery as much as he possibly can, and when he is...
Oh, there's a goat here!
Yeah! He has
that every time.
He has these sort of, like, these fits when someone touches it, because he's a medium, and he has these sort of really heavy fits of, like, I want to see, like, almost, like... like orgasming, because like
he is coming in his pants, okay, in front of everybody in the room. Every single time he's like, don't touch me, I'm gonna fucking see a ghost. You know, every fucking time. Oh, I can see your dead wife. Yeah, it's that every single time, bro. Literally, so the first time we see him, he comes out of a car and is like, oh Cyrus, you said that there was like 13 people that died here. There's like 40 victims here. Whoa. You know?
The man is orgasming. He is coming on screen every single time someone touches him, someone, like a ghost, like, and oh god, yeah, that's going up. That's going up on the pod. We will show you. I'm gonna fucking screenshot like every single time Matthew Lillard like tilts his head back and practically ejaculates.
Yeah, every single time.
So basically, Matthew Lillard he's a medium character, and he basically is called in by, what's his name?
A medium.
What's his name?
Cyrus Criticos.
What a fucking name, bro. What a name. Yeah, like, they're called in, and they basically just are looking for a ghost.
Yeah, it's like we basically get this, and I'm kind of getting like Nightmare 5 vibes, like where like that dream sequence
in a
where,
junkyard. Like, yeah, get it. Wow.
Well, yeah, it's like somebody took a shit in your cornflakes tonight, didn't they? On top of being late, this bitch is also being rude. Okay.
Dissenters among the franchise.
But yeah, I get like heavy Nightmare 5 vibes off this scene because like that movie has like a whole like junkyard element to it or whatever. Or is it the 4th movie?
I think it's the 4th movie, because isn't that like the Dream Warriors?
It is. It's when Freddy's back. Yeah, because it's the Dream Warriors from the 3rd movie.
Yeah. And we get that terrible CGI skeleton, which we don't get from this movie, because the editing process that they use in this film, I'm going to give you like the first of many epilepsy warnings, because this film flashes shit in front of your eyes like there is no tomorrow. This might as well have been a hard rock music video. Like, that's how quickly like shots are used back and forth. The ghost is here, then it's not. This guy is getting sawn in half. This guy's getting fucked over across a car. This guy's getting pulled into the, fucking front of the car and snapped in half.
We get a great kill in this scene from it, and I always love this kind of kill where there's a dude like up on top of like one of these piles of the cars, whatever, like that, and he gets pulled in frontways and bent in half, backward, and pulled that way.
Into the car.
That again, like the blob as well.
Yeah,
I find that so effective. It just seems like one of the like most painful ways to go in a movie, I guess.
This is the first of the title, which is 13 Ghosts, and this is the Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut, yeah.
And who is he?
Horace Mahoney. Horace the Breaker Mahoney.
He was basically he was born not deformed, but like just hyper strong. Born
with like facial deformities, kind of long limbs, and 7 foot tall.
Yeah,
and
very strong.
Yeah, first victims to female hitchhikers that he brought back, and also we'll get into like. We get all of these behind the scenes, like, origins for these ghosts from the fucking killer special features on the DVD.
Love special features.
Oh no, for real, special features horror over here. I regret like throwing away so many of my DVDs and like giving them away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yes, he brings his first 2 victims back. This is the origin story. To the junkyard, I guess. Mm-hmm. Rips them apart like with his bare hands. It's great, and he eventually gets caught. She calls in for backup, and they manage to shoot off like over 50 rounds into him, and then like still put more rounds into him even after he's dead.
This is like really the whole kind of like pull, I think, for even now what this movie is because the sort of character creation kind of more so behind the ghosts rather than the actual living people, because I think we don't kind of really give a shit about the people.
Nothing without the character designs that they had. I think that's like the entire reason why, like, they are literally the titular 13 ghosts. Like, they're the entire reason why anybody remembered this movie. Yeah. If anybody's ever brought this movie up to you, it's because they want to gush over the design of the ghosts or the story of the ghosts, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. This, just the production design alone was really great, and then we'll get into it because the house is fucking beautiful. I want that house. I would love to live in a house like that. It would be so cool.
I have that note as well. This is like top 5 I like movie houses to live in. Like stunning.
It is. It's really beautiful. So basically, Cyrus ends up getting at least what we think is decapitated because you know, I don't know, something happened, I guess, to him. And they captured the Juggernaut.
Had Frank Nicotero on the side of the fucking junkyard to like, throw a neck piece on, go.
Get that special effects in there.
Get my neck, sweetie. Yeah, very that.
Yeah, so basically we then kind of like cut very fucking quickly to like,
oh my god, it's so bad.
It is so bad. This scene, like, I'd kind of forgotten it, and it's actually just really not the best way to introduce characters, because like it's sort of this 360 room panning shot of like they're looking out the window, the kids are in the play in the back garden playing, and
I like kind of like this way to do like exposition rather than like, because they tell you this same exposition like 4 more times in this movie or whatever, but like in this scene we got Shannon Elizabeth and the younger brother like playing, and she's like, oh, you're the best younger brother, oh my god, and then it like pans over to the parents and he's literally like, wow, Gene, pretty soon he'll be throwing her over his shoulder. Aren't they great? Aren't these kids great? I love you. And she's like, I love you too, honey. And then it's so
forced.
It's
and it's so, to me, it's so fake. And not to mention the fact, I think I said this to you earlier, but their mouths, what you hear over, like, what's being acted... Like, you can't see it because, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, what they're saying doesn't match up with the mouths. So I guarantee you there was other dialogue and it was just dubbed over with this shitty dialogue. And then, like, screams and shit happen, and then the nice house transformed into, like, some burnt up shithole because the mother died.
My wife died in a fire, and now we live in a shithole. Welcome to my life. You know, it's very...
Yeah, it's very Cribs 2000.
Oh, it's so that for real.
Oh, God. Yeah, so, like, they basically...
So we're introduced, like, back to the family while they're, like, eating breakfast.
Yeah.
I was gonna like that. We're introduced to Maggie, their housekeeper slash nanny, played by Rod Digger.
Hey, girl! Fucking stand that bitch. I love her.
She's she's like the best character in this movie that is human, that is actually alive.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I didn't want, like, no matter what happens to, like, the rest of them, I didn't even give a shit if the kids die. I was like, just don't kill Rodiga. I love her.
She also just disappears. She also just exits stage left from this movie for, like, the last half an hour.
Yeah.
And they also managed to lose... Well, okay, we'll get into that. And
the lawyer shows up.
Introduced to her. He's so cute. He's so
that wig,
but
though. That wig.
Yeah,
Oh.
He needs to just shift it down a little piece. But he is so cute. He looks like a bitch, like pale blue eyes. It's great. And he comes in, and he's like, you can tell he steps in, he's like, hello, poor, can I come in? And, like, comes in and has the, like, most 2001 laptop you've ever seen, opens it up with, like, literally, like a Ouija board as his, like, background. It's
I was
like,
about to say that.
Pictures of all of the ghosts right there. Literally, and it's, like, direct, like, all the ghosts are literally, like, like, in the background, and, like, nobody is, like, okay. And then he's like, oh, you totally had an Uncle Cyrus. He's dead. He's quote-unquote dead. Here's 5 separate video clips of his will rather than just one clip. Jesus.
It's like, for dramatic effect, he was like, okay, I'm gonna pause it now, and then I'll record again.
He would say something and then it would end, and you would expect it to be like, whoa, like, what's gonna go on? And then there'd be another clip of like, oh, and here's a house. You guys will freaking love it. Bye. One more thing. Yeah, you know? I guarantee that, like, one of those was like, by the way, there's freaking ghosts in here, bro. You know?
Yeah, it was just like smartly edited out by the lawyer.
Yeah, like, oh, we've had enough. And then he just closes down the laptop. I live.
I do think it's absolutely hilarious. I really do, because it's so, like, jarring to, like, especially with, like, that screen in the background, like, that screensaver. Like, I guarantee you, like, you're just in there, like, I would have seen that. I was like, why the fuck does a lawyer have a background like that?
You a big Evanescence fan, lawyer? You know, it's very that.
Like, if anything,
but this family,
oh,
this family are so funny to me because, like, what the fuck is even sister's older name? It's like Maggie or something. Isn't it? It's Maggie. No, Maggie's the nanny. Kathy. Kathy's the
Bobby
nanny.
and Kathy.
She's such an asshole because she's fully like, because the dad like trips over a scooter or whatever like that, and she's fully like, well, if we had a bigger place and
she's an asshole in this,
then maybe if our mom wasn't fucking dead, bro, maybe we would have a bigger place, whatever.
And she hits on the lawyer too. She's like full on like looking down at
like
his dick,
fucking close to his face, and it's like showing all her teeth. Gross. Did you just see a ghost, Miss Thing? You know? You want to make me see ghosts? You know?
And then you have Bobby, who's very, very strange because, like, Bobby has this weird obsession with death or, like, with gore or something. Like, he's almost like a Danny Lloyd character from The Shining.
Yeah,
it's like,
Bobby
I know, Mom died. She burned. Yeah.
Literally, I made that fucking joke where it was like, he was talking about the wife, and the father is trying to say it, and I was like, my wife died in a fire, and then he literally turns to the kid, and the kid is like, our mom burned in a fire. Like, straight away, I was like, this kid is me for real. Like, we're introduced to the kid by being like, this dude was decapitated behind a whatever, and then the Maggie is for like decapitated. Like, there's so many cute little moments between Maggie and Bobby.
I love it. I just think, like, there's some certain scenes that, like, make me like the characters, and then there's other scenes that are like, why would you do that? That's stupid. You know? And then it's like that scene in The Thing is like, let's split up now, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but you've just seen the house, like, literally dividing up rooms and moving walls and shit, and you're gonna tell them to split up? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, just
also
so
the glass
stupid.
house. They even called it out. Matthew Lillard is like, "How the fuck do you lose a whole family in a glass house?"
Yeah. So basically, they're told, like, in the will, like the lawyer. Like, I don't have another name for him. I'm just gonna call him the lawyer.
I think they even call him that when they find him at the end. I think Maggie's literally like, "Is that the lawyer?" Like, they don't even like refer to him as anything. Oh, it's Ben Moss. Like, that's his name, Ben Moss.
Ben Moss. Wow. Okay. Fine. He basically tells them that they've got, like, they've got their uncle's fortune and house and blah blah blah. It's there if you want it, and I've got time today. I'll take you out there myself and blah blah blah. To which we're all just like, yeah, okay, great. Let's go there and blah blah blah. Until you fucking look at this place and you actually get there and you're like, when the fuck can I sign up for this? Like, what kind of modern minimalist shit is this?
It looks like a museum.
Yeah.
Like, it literally looks like an art museum. But it's like, there's like contradicting sentences in this where he's like, the lawyer, Miss Moss, is like, Cyrus really valued his privacy. And then literally like 3 lines later, Molly? Who the fuck is Molly? Kathy is like, wow, he really didn't give a shit about his privacy. And it's like, yeah, obviously, he's in a fucking glass house.
Like, no matter how, you know, I mean, it is in the middle of the forest. Maybe he was an exhibitionist. Maybe he just really liked being, like, seen by people, you know, masturbating in his glass bathroom. I don't fucking know. Yeah, basically they get to the house and they walk around and they're viewing things. And then we get the strangest shit I've probably ever heard, is the wearing of glasses for some reason to see ghosts. Now, I really like this.
It's cool, but it also doesn't factor into the plot whatsoever.
No, I think it's just sort of it's not a plot device at all. It's just there, so they have something to kind of go off of for the non-mediums, you know, to see ghosts. Because that's the only thing that they kept from the original 1960s film.
That's what I was going to say. It's a nod to the original.
Yeah.
Very gimmicky, but that's kind of like William Castle's kind of thing.
Yeah, it's,
you know?
Yeah, it's very kind of, like, how do I say it? Like, yeah, it's just kind of, it's there, I guess. You know, like it's just something that's just really, you know, why? Like, if these people, like, if these ghosts are literally scaring the absolute shit out of you, why are you putting the glasses back on to see them?
Yeah,
I don't
there is a
know.
couple of like details that I like though. Like when they're going around the house, the first like we see the Juggernaut first, but the first ghost that we actually like get in frame walking around, like seeing, like we can actually get a good look at her, is the Angry Princess.
Yeah,
I really loved her design as a kid. The like she's naked, pale white, like Snow White, with just like gashes all over her, and she's like cut like right through her right nipple.
Yeah.
Out.
I do
the Angry
think
Princess, Dana Newman, her backstory, she's like obsessed with vanity and was never like super hyper insecure, and like started working for a plastic surgeon, and she would get paid with surgeries, and one of the nights in the surgeon's office or whatever like that, she decided to perform surgery on herself and blinded herself in one eye.
Ooh.
And then like decided like fuck all this and killed herself in the bath.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually it was something to say, because the actress who played the Torn Princess was, her name was Shauna Lawyer. She attracted a small cult following thanks to her brief role as the Angry Princess. A rumor circulated that the role was actually played by a porn actress called Aria Giovanni using a pseudonym. But this is incorrect, because she was in a parody called 13 Erotic Ghosts.
Not too far off like what this movie actually is. Any scene with Matthew Lillard in it might as well be 13 Erotic Ghosts. You know?
Yeah, anyway, just in case like anyone's wondering about the whole kind of deal with Matthew Lillard's thing, like he literally started acting like just before this and just after this. Like he went on to, before this he was in Scream, right?
Scream.
1998,
96.
96. Jesus, I was way off there. And then afterwards he like starred in those terrible Scooby-Doo films. And then he just kind of...
First of all, old lady, fuck off. Those Scooby-Doo movies are great, and they're great upon rewatching. I got drunk like 2 years ago with some friends and rewatched them. They are a riot.
No, they're really not.
When was the last time you watched them? When was the last time you watched a Scooby-Doo movie? A live-action Scooby-Doo movie?
Fucking years ago, because I'm not that type of person. Jesus.
Person who has fun or enjoys Scooby-Doo? Gross.
Okay, listen, bitch. Listen, bitch. Let me just go right into it. The animation series, the very old animation Scooby-Doo series, the only Scooby-Doo. Thank you. Moving on.
I wouldn't have been born for like 50 years after those, Nathan. Don't get me wrong, I like Hanna-Barbera just as much as the next guy, but like these movies, they're funny, and they're kind of like adult funny. There's like weed jokes and stuff, and like, yeah, Scooby-Doo gets in drag, bro.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's wearing Daphne's boots, bro.
Anyway, so Dennis, aka Shaggy, also shows up pretending to be the power guy and wanting to look in the basement. Now, obviously this guy is just, you know, he's salty because he didn't get his way with, you know, being, you know, paid his millions from the guy who, quote unquote, decapitated by the Juggernaut. So he's out for blood. He wants his money back. And so he unwittingly activates the, like, what is this machine called? It's like...
The space-time continuum? No, it's like, he's not even the one that does it, though. It's the lawyer that does it.
Yes. Like, yeah.
Yeah, they have, like, he goes down into the basement or whatever, and he sees the hammer. We'll get into the hammer later, when he's, like, properly introduced. And he's just, like, kind of looking around or whatever. And, like, this is such a weird trope in movies where he's like, Cyrus, where do you keep your money? As if rich people just keep, like, piles of cash in their house. Like, that just doesn't fucking happen. You know?
Especially in a glass house.
Exactly.
Where people can see
he's, like,
it.
walking around, I think this is where he meets the torn prince, and he kind of like has like a and is like on the floor or whatever. And we see that he like goes up into this meeting between the lawyer and we've just been calling him the dad. What the fuck is his name?
His name is Arthur. Arthur Criticus. What a name.
So they're like in the middle of a meeting, and he's like, he says every word except for ghosts. He's like, PK, natural spirit rates, you know, anything I'm talking about in layman's terms, ghosts. You could have just said ghosts. You know what I mean?
Between the people who have and have not.
That he's like a crackhead or something, for
Yeah.
real. They think he's like, which he kind of is. It's like implied, not even implied, at the very start in the opening scene, he goes to like take some pills.
Oh, yeah.
Cyrus just like slaps them out of his hand or whatever. He's like,
telenovela style.
This thing just fell over my room. Oh, there's a ghost in here. And he's like, I just need something to like take the edge off. And he's like, no, I need you clean. I need you clear-minded. Catch me a ghost.
Oh, I love that. I fucking love that. It's just so extra. This film really is so extra when it comes to like certain scenes and, you know, like most of the things. Oh, God. But when this machine activates, I still don't know the name of it. What is the machine called again? Oh, God. Something Oculus Infernum. The Eye of Hell.
The Eye of Hell, yeah.
So basically, this machine does something countdown basically to like releasing all the ghosts. And you mentioned her already. The Angry Princess was the first to be released, and she goes hunting the daughter who's found this beautiful, magnificent bathroom. And
a really, really short bed. I fucking hate beds like
short
that.
Bed,
wide but short. And she like gets into it or whatever like that, and then she's going through and she's like, wow, we struck gold. And is like putting on all this perfume and shit. And like, I don't know why. It's just a Neutrogena commercial where she's like, she runs a piece of the bath or whatever like that, and it's just like throwing water in her face like 30 times.
Who does that?
It's fucking ridiculous. And the princess is just like sitting in the bath, like
watching her. Yeah.
And we get kind of a cool little transition there, though, where like we see the glasses on like a little like a soap dish or something like that, and we kind of zoom through and see that there's like blood all over the walls, but like through the glasses. I kind of like little shots like that.
Yeah.
And one of the only kind of CG-ish shots we get, a lot of this movie, if not most, are all practical.
Yeah, which
all the ghosts and everything are 100% practical.
Yeah, I really, really appreciate this because I'm firmly against the idea, like you already know this, I am firmly against the idea of having CGI in a film unless you absolutely have to. And the guys here, just like, they really did it. Like, one of the ghosts, the torso, he was a double amputee, and basically all they did was they gave him a green screen hood for his head, and they green screened his head out, and he was basically a torso with arms, and it was terrifying. So like, I really, really do appreciate like the practicality that went into it, and like, and how strong like, that's why I think these ghosts are really frightening and really, really memorable, because they weren't fucking CGI, unlike that god awful.
That's Greg Nicotero for you, though. Like one of my idols, like when it comes to makeup,
deep
in my
friend
head,
of the pod.
It's Rick Baker, Greg Nicotero, and Tom Savini. Like, those are my like three.
Those
like,
you go to gals.
I worship them, man.
Yeah.
Just because like they are huge proponents for like, if you can do it practically, do it practically. If you got to fill a condom up with some blood and some squished banana and whatever you have left on the fucking lunch table, do it. Because in the end, those are the effects that people remember.
Absolutely, you know? Absolutely. Like these days, like most of things like that, like those, I always say like those 10, 12 foot monsters, those CGI 10, 12 foot monsters very, very rarely work if they're like
not 9, not 13, 10 or 12.
But you know what I mean, like those big imposing things that you really see, like they're not there.
Yeah.
That's why I think The Thing was so frightening, is because they were all practical effects and they really, really were scary, you know? So it's the exact same here. Like, I really, really do appreciate the fact and the time and the effort that goes into creating this, especially this next scene, because this is where the lawyer...
Oh, it's so good!
This was probably, when I was young, this was probably the most memorable moment from this film from when I was younger.
Yeah.
The lawyer tries to... He's in the basement, right? He tries to escape the basement. And...
Well, he's walking around and he's kind of like chatting shit, where he's kind of like irritating the ghosts, whatever, like that.
Yeah.
He walks past the angry princess and he's like, "What, bad representation?" and like walks wherever. And he goes into the main room where what did we say it was called?
I'm just going to refer to it as the Hell Machine. I don't really know. I don't understand the plot of this part of the film when it comes to anything deeper than your man needed ghosts to do something with them. I don't really know.
So he walks past the Hell Machine, which he left his briefcase on, and then like takes the briefcase off, and the whole thing like activates.
Yeah,
and he, like,
it gets the whole thing moving.
Nonchalant about the fact of this huge machine, which we come to find out he knew everything that was going on.
Yeah.
It starts up, and then he walks out and notices that the angry princess is out, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry! Like, what the hell? Like, he's
180. I respect women pejorative."
yeah, exactly. I will refer to you as a lady or a woman, not a girl. But then these like two glass doors. The house kind of shifts around, very Alien versus Predator pyramid style.
Yes.
And these two glass panels just come together, but like they bisect him lengthways, like right in front of the ear, like down.
Yeah.
And it's such a good effect. And again, obviously they had to do some of that like with CG, but it's very, very subtle.
Yeah.
But then we get the practical of, and I love these little touches of like the glasses just pop off.
Yeah, they snap.
The tie is like sliced and
very
through,
2000s.
And then he like falls down, and we see
he doesn't
like,
fall down. He slowly slides down that part, that front half of the glass, and like all you see are the brains and
yeah, we get that back where we see like the back of the eyes and everything. It's so good. It's such a good effect.
Yeah,
I live for that.
Yeah, these are like, again, like that's I know there's slight CGI there, but that was a practical effect of having like one half of a mannequin and the other half, and then just like letting it I always remember that very slow sliding. Like, it's very interesting to me that they didn't show the legs, because I thought it was so interesting to see like that cuts him right down the center lengthways, and like I'd love to see like did his legs just kind of flop in, or like what happened? I'd love to know.
Like, what it did, we can see when they find him at the end, he's like not even
he's just a pile of goo. Yeah.
Yeah, like just like leaned up against. It's great. And they also still refer to him as the
lawyer. And then Maggie, Raldigga's character, said, "Did the lawyer split?" I love it.
I love her. And like, see, that's the thing. Usually, I find characters like her annoying in a movie, like the kind of like quote unquote comedic or comedic relief. But like, she's genuinely funny.
Yeah.
You know,
I've had it with this shit, Bobby. Arthur, I'm done. I am out of here. I'm going back to New York.
But I love that. Yeah, she's fully just like hopping down like into the basement. She's like, I just got my nails done. And shit, you know, like I love it.
Priorities, girl. She got her nails done. Okay.
So Bobby and Maggie are kind of like off exploring, and then he just like zips, like goes off on his scooter. Oh god, I miss my scooter.
Which is an easy
kind of
reference.
Just, like, gets his ass lost.
It's an easy reference to The Shining. Like that's another reference to The Shining. I mean, instead of a tricycle, it's I don't know. I just thought like it's what I thought of when I'd seen those the kind of tracking shot from behind. You know, like him. You know, going around. I did think it could have been, for all we know, could have been an homage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Well, this little kid is stupid as fuck because he hears one voice. I think it's the bound woman that he hears.
Yeah, she's tied up and
calling him in.
all of that.
Bobby, come down here, all this kind of shit. And then he literally hears his own mom's voice being like, don't go down to that basement. Don't follow her, Bobby. Don't go down. And he's just like, well, I guess I'm already walking down to the basement. Like, he's already in there. It's so fucking stupid. And then
if I was his mother, I'd roll my eyes and be like, I literally just told you not to.
Literally, though, it's like, I specifically requested the opposite of this, Bobby. How dare you? And then he gets his ass snatched up by Uncle Cyrus. And that's kind of the last that we see of this kid until, like, literally the very end of the movie.
I should note that this
movie...
is where we
get to meet the bound... Huh?
I was just going to say, like, I should note that this movie is, like, it's just over 91 minutes long, and...
91 minutes on the dot.
The film takes place, I want to say, like, does this thing, like, this whole night take place over, like, a half an hour?
One night.
Or 45 minutes? Like, from the minute the first ghost is till,
well,
like,
it's not
the
even
machine
bright
explodes.
when the whole movie ends. It's not even bright.
Yeah.
It's still the same night. Like, it literally takes place almost real time.
Yeah.
With this movie. Like, over kind of like an hour and a half. The whole thing takes place over a day.
Yeah.
Because, like, from that morning, he, like, also was supposed to be going to work. And he's, like, Arthur is a maths teacher, right? And I'm like, but you just drove a couple of hours out of here, bro. You're gonna have to leave your fucking job and shit.
Yeah.
And you were already late for work when this lawyer showed up.
Yeah.
Who was teaching the kids math, Arthur? Tell me this.
Irresponsible teacher. Irresponsible parent.
Miss, where the fuck is Dr. Criticus? Where is he? You know?
I still think those names, like, what you got, Cyrus Criticus, like, that name.
Very Greek.
Yeah. Girl. Actually, speaking of which, this was one of the first films that actually had more of a separate representation rather than just a white main cast. The main three, oh god, his name Tony Shalhoub, Emma
Tony
Davies,
Shalhoub, yeah. I know him from Monk.
And yeah, like they're is he Iranian? I can't remember.
They're people of color.
Well, I just want to point out, like, this is, for that point, like, the fact that we had a separate representation of the fact that, ironically, like, the kids are kind of clearly white. But, you know, we won't go there.
That kid is brown. Like, the boy is brown. But, like, Kathy's very definitely a white chick.
Yeah, like, it's just, I just think it's really great because, like, it starts with a very stronger representation, I guess, for the turn of the century, really. But, like, it's really nice to, like, see a better representation, you know? And it's not because of you want to have this character, that character. Like, Tony's character is the father figure. He is the savior in the situation, being, obviously, the spirit, the broken heart, I think it's called. So, like, I think it's a really great kind of character arc, not just for the story, but the fact that you do have a person of color and things like that do have a sort of better role than what they would have had in the previous century. Not even the previous century, less than maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where it became something like, if you're of a different skin color, you would have been a token character in a horror movie. You know what I mean? So I just think it's really interesting.
I mean, they called that out in Scream 2. Literally the entire opening of Scream 2, which is only 3 years before this, has huge amounts of dialogue about representation in cinema with Jada Pinkett Smith and Mike Epps. As far as I remember, the entire like opening dialogue to that movie is about black representation in cinema and stuff, you know.
No,
we were kind of starting to like come around, you know.
Like I think
and have characters not just be tokenized in movies.
Well, that's exactly what I mean. Like, especially with this one, like Tony's character Arthur, like he is, like I said, he's the father figure. He's the stronger. He's the lead character basically. So like, you know, it's better
like willing to literally sacrifice himself for his children.
Like it has a very strong arc. It says a lot about him and blah blah blah. So like I just think it's a really really good representation. I think it's a really good way to have it. You know, they basically start
and have it not play into the actual
like stereotypes or yeah. Like it can fall into like like you said, yeah, just fall into characters where you're stereotyped or tokenized in a way, you know.
Exactly, and you kind of expect it out of this kind of movie, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like race or nothing like that, like ever comes into it whatsoever. You know, it
Yes.
just is.
Yeah. I like the fact that, like, even like in horror films 5 years before, like the specific fact that someone is black, like it's even called out in films at sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with some like questionable nicknames and stuff in movies.
Yeah, like it's almost as if it's being like, up until this movie where it is never mentioned, which I really prefer. I like that. I don't like to virtue signal or I don't like to tokenize or anything like that. But I like the fact that this kind of thing, it really just kind of starts the whole like, I want to say, turning point where people have a higher tolerance of these kinds of things, and then they go to a low tolerance and be like, hey, listen, let's not do that now. Let's actually just be respectful of each other. You know what I mean? So I really like that. Yeah. Anyway, so the Jackal is next.
Yeah, so we get the Jackal, my personal favorite character design for the movie.
Yeah.
When I was obsessed with as a kid, mainly for the head cage and like the hair. Like I loved it, and they're like
the fact I didn't know it was a man until years later. I thought that was a woman.
I can see that though. We actually kind of like. I think this is also the person besides the hammer that we actually get the most footage of.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah.
Like when I think of 13 Ghosts, that's like the Jackal is the one that immediately pops into my head. That would be like the this movie for me.
Yeah.
A little bit of backstory for him. Ryan Kuhn, born of a prostitute in the turn of the century, 1900s, had kind of an insatiable need to attack women, attack sex workers.
Yeah, he was a sexual predator, or like a deviant or something like that, wasn't he?
Exactly. And he turned himself into an asylum where they had him bound in a straitjacket, like extremely tight. That's why his limbs are kind of distended and warped out of place. He chewed at the straitjacket. That's why like the teeth are kind of like gnarled and the lips are kind of peeled back. And the head cage was put on then to prevent any kind of escaping from that. And then when said asylum went up in flames, he chose to stay there and chose to die there. So
I think he, besides the sort of like kind of freaky aspect of like everything else, I think the most scariest character for me was the Jackal. And I think because it was the most manic, like all the other ghosts were
least human.
Yeah, like they were all sort of standing there, and then like, I mean, the Angry Princess or the Juggernaut or all that, they were just sort of standing down the hall looking at you, and then they would slowly walk up to you. Whereas the Jackal was, if he spotted you, he would immediately like run up at you and like start clawing at you. And
I loved it.
Like because
like
it's scary.
Like torn
hook nails.
fingernails.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It was
so good.
really, really scary. The Jackal attacks.
It snatches Kathy up.
Oh my god! And like floating in the air.
Just like going ham, just scratching the shit out of her. And they show us a piece of her boob at one point, which is so like, okay.
Questionable.
Like, so need to be in there. But also I feel like it was Shannon Elizabeth, that actress. She was very much kind of like early 2000s like hot chick. She was very that girl. I would know her from Scary Movie.
Yeah.
And like also kind of like in the same role in a way. Kind of just like a generic hot ditz chick. Like that's just kind of like the role that she like, I guess she like was put in.
But then this is another thing that like is brought up but is never kind of like established as to why. We actually didn't mention her at the beginning of the film, but Emmett David's character, Kalina, something name, Kalina shows up. Oretzia. And she shows up and she fucks, you know that...
it's a Quicksilver flare.
Yeah, like, I like, are the ghosts afraid of it, or, like, I don't get it.
Well, see, I actually like it. They managed to, like, kind of shove quite a chunk of lore into this movie that, like, ghosts must abide by, like, there's a certain, like, set of laws that, like, all ghosts must abide by.
Yes.
So, like, they have to go by incantations and spells and protection spells and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which I actually think they used to kind of great effect in this movie. I
Yes.
think, like, some of the things they did were actually quite smart. Yeah, they make little jokes of like, wow, Kalina, you're still carrying around Quicksilver flares and all this kind of shit like that.
I should actually mention that the glass walls that start to move around and change the house and things like that, the incantations you see, they are incantations, they are in Latin, but they're made out to be spells of containment or anything like that, but they are actually the Lord's Prayer. They are actually just a prayer written hundreds of times over and over again all through the glass. I think that's really, really interesting because, again, it speaks to, like, they were saying they are containment spells, but I suppose the Lord's Prayer is a containment spell, or at least a protection spell. You know what I mean?
Because we get in this movie that hell is canon.
Yeah.
So
heaven might as well be.
I always have to laugh at movies like that where they're like, if there's a movie where there's a demon or a mention of hell or something like that, I'm like, so God is just floating around somewhere in this movie's universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's good because, like, all bets are off then. You can basically just do whatever the fuck you want and you'll get away with it, you know? I think it's good.
And, like, we get all this Latin written across, and each ghost fits into a specific kind of category, or fits into a specific archetype that is needed to, like,
power
open
up this machine.
Hell's Eye. And each one of them gets a sigil, which I really like.
Yeah. I think
like, he comes through, and Matthew Lillard, before we even see it, he's like, this is the sigil of the jackal.
Yeah.
If this dude is loose in here, fuck these kids. We need to get out of this house.
Yeah. He, like, totally shits himself, and I totally get why, because the jackal is fucking terrifying. It's so scary.
I actually I think we forgot to mention that it's like the person who captured all of these ghosts is Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, like, he is the medium that went around for Cyrus and helped capture these things. So, like, if anything, he I suppose that does also, like, explain some of his manic behavior, because essentially it's a revenge story for the ghosts to get back at him if they catch him.
Well, yeah, we also get this thing. That's the reason why Yoan Kalina Aratzia is there, because she's like a liberator of souls. She's like
a humanitarian.
She's like, this is slavery. That's how we, like, get introduced to her in the very start of the movie. She's like, how depraved are you? You capture people's souls or whatever like that. And then Matthew Lillard goes on this, like, I'm not like other girls rant, where he's like, yeah, every time someone fucking touches me, I see dead things. All of this kind of shit. And he's like, yeah. I'm kind of a weirdo. I'm not like everybody else, okay?
They, like, the house moves around quite a lot, and, like, for some reason, like, once Kalina and Arthur, like, get together, fucking what's her name, Kathy, like, disappears again. Like, she just up and vanishes, and I'm just like, what?
She was sitting directly in between both of them.
Yeah.
And then they're talking, and they're like, where the fuck did she go?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't notice the third person in this conversation just vanished right in front of you, bro? Fucking hell.
It's so stupid. Like, I don't know, like, the whole point of it is just, it's so fucking terrible. It really is. Like, the plot, or not the plot, not necessarily, but, like, character decisions, and you're just like, what the fuck? But we get
people.
Yeah. We basically get, like, a huge, and when I say huge, I mean it slows the plot, the story progression right down to a crawl, because we get this huge exposition dump in the library when they all, like, get back together somehow, with Matthew Lillard's character Arthur and Kalina, and, like, Kalina brings this huge fucker of a spell book that basically spells out the rest of the plot of the film.
This is the Arcana. People died trying to get this book, and now I have it. It was written in the 15th century.
It's just huge. Like, she basically talks about what is it called again? I keep forgetting. Basically, it's the Hell Machine. And for whatever fucking reason, Cyrus is in it, and it's based off of, she does this whole, like, exposition dump of the Black Zodiac.
But I want this book. I want this book so bad. And there's somebody I follow on Instagram who makes replicas of, like, books for movies. Like, they make like replicas of, like, the Necronomicon and this. like all those kind of things. I want one so bad.
Oh yeah. In case anyone doesn't know, for context, the Black Zodiac is a dark inversion of the normal Zodiac. Like its celestial counterpart, the more eldritch Black Zodiac is divided into 12 arcane, unlike its counterpart, 12 arcane signs. These signs represent 12 earthbound spirits necessary to gain access to the Ocularis Infernum. That's the fucking name.
And I have them here. I have the list of the 12 zodiacs.
Well, go on.
So we have the firstborn son, the torso, the bound woman, the withered lover, the torn prince, the angry princess, the pilgrimess, my personal favorite, who is a witch, literally a witch, the great child and the dire mother, the hammer, the juggernaut, and the jackal.
Love a jackal. In addition to the 12 standard spirits, the Black Zodiac also encompasses a 13th ghost, the Broken Heart. This spirit is the final ingredient in the spell to fully activate Basilius's machine, due to being sacrificed willingly out of an act of pure love instead of misery. So,
because love is the most powerful thing, Arthur. It really is. Like,
yeah, she describes it as basically like, she repeats the phrase like, it's a fail-safe for the machine. I was like, bitch, this is a machine that was, what does she say? Like, it was made by the devil and powered by the damned. I'm like, you wanted someone to just be like this and this is gonna fix it? It's not a fucking fail-safe. Go get fucked, Kalina. What?
No. But also, we come to find out that, like, that totally was bullshit and she's literally tricking him.
Oh. Yeah, she's basically in this movie for what? All of 10 minutes? And then she dies? She's there to exposition shit and that's it.
Her death is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, although we do get one of the worst CGI shots. We really do. It's really, really bad. It's, yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't know how you make a fucking machine like that practically.
No, I'm not talking about that. I meant the, like, her death.
Her death is practical.
No, most of it is, but, like, you get that final shot of her face getting, like, smushed.
That crush, that's a practical.
No, it's not. Stop.
Yes, the hell it is.
Stop. Show me the receipts.
Stop.
Show me the
Stop
receipts.
it.
I'm asking. I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out. Just like you did with me on The Shining. I'm calling you out. Show me the receipts.
Sure the fuck will.
So
why
basically,
would they have that as practical? It's literally just a head being crushed.
Yeah, well, shut up.
Called out. I'll see you on Instagram in a week's time.
This is where we also find out that Arthur's wife, who died in the fire at the beginning of the film, makes up the 4th ghost in the series, I think.
The Withered Lover, yeah.
The Withered Lover, yeah. Like, she makes up one of the 12 ghosts, and that's why Cyrus chose him to be part of the thing, because he knew that Arthur's character, the dad, would be the one willing to be the... Exactly, like, it does make sense when it's spelled out to the audience like that, but for the overall plot, you're still like, well, what's it for, though?
Yeah.
Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, you're still looking at it going, like, okay, but what? Like, what's the end goal here for the bad guy? Like, what?
The entire thing is that the eye can see into the past and the future.
And...
Well, see, okay, we kind of get the vibe that, like, Cyrus is just, like, a big collector of lots of things. Like, the first thing we get to see is, like, samurai armor, so, like, and just the house, and, like,
yeah,
like, old guns and, like, knives, all this kind of stuff like that. But, yeah, I actually kind of gathered that he, like, managed to do something very similar to this before.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like, he basically, like, the lawyer, again, the lawyer just doesn't get a name, is basically, like, he was a genius when it came to, like, finances, and I kind of got the vibe that, like, something like this, maybe on a smaller scale, had kind of happened before with Cyrus, and that's, like, where all that kind of, like, came from, you know? Because we get at the start that, like, the family is supposed to be rich, and kind of is implied that they were, even our main family were, like, kind of well off.
They were well off,
yeah,
exactly.
Apartment. But the Uncle Cyrus squandered the family fortune.
Yeah.
And then the daughter's like, we had a family fortune. He's like, what, are you fucking deaf? You just heard me say that he squandered it all. You know?
Sassy lawyer. Love it. The father, I keep calling him the father. We just can't read their names, so forget it. Arthur and, is it Dennis? Yeah, Dennis, they both go down to the basement to try and find Bobby and insert generic white girl name here.
The daughter. Yeah.
Daughter, yeah. And
Kathy. Oh my god, yeah, insert generic white girl name here, Kathy.
Well, yeah, like, it's so generic. They basically find out that the Juggernaut, the last one in the kind of line of ghosts, has been released from its glass prison behind the sigil that keeps it locked in. And Dennis kind of they take one of those glass frames with the spells
and I thought that was really smart. I thought that was kind of a cool idea to like hold it and have it as a shield because it's got the incantations on the front. Yeah, I like that kind of idea. But then I also was like, how fucking easy is this house to take apart? Like, I thought it was supposed to be indestructible.
Yeah, could they not get out then?
They can just like pull doors off hinges and carry them like around, you know?
Yeah, like there's several times also, like, I know they climb up from the basement, they climb up through some hatch in the ceiling to get into the library. I'm like, wait, hold on, you are literally taking this house apart and you can't get out. Like, what?
And Kalina managed to get in.
She managed to get in. Like, wait, what?
They very, very quickly like move over that though. He's like, how the hell did you get in? And she was like, a hatch when the house was shifting and it will never happen again. Anyway, and then just moved straight on.
Yeah.
Also, I spent this entire movie calling her Sigourney Weaver Jr. Because
yes.
she looks and acts so much like Sigourney Weaver in a way.
Yeah.
Before realizing that it literally was Miss Honey. Because like the whole
it's
time
Miss
I was
Honey
like,
from Matilda.
Who is she? Yeah,
This
Miss Honey,
stumpy...
and she's like alt now because she's got a nose ring and short hair and a leather jacket. The fashions in this movie, like
early 2000s, girl.
You don't have to ask if this movie is from 2001.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Matthew Lillard's getup, him as once he takes off the orange jumpsuit, like that suit with
so
the
loud. It's so loud. He was wearing a blazer under there. Like what the? Like when they rocked up to the house, it's like, are you wearing a whole other outfit under that jumpsuit? You know, like that totally
outfit reveal. Throw it off, come through to the
literally,
stage.
he takes it off and he's wearing this loud ass like red shirt with like all these like symbols and patterns and shit all over it, and like a whole ass blazer, a full ass suit.
Yeah. Oh my god, I think it's brilliant, some of that stuff. So they try to hide basically behind this glass wall thing.
Yeah.
With spells.
Like a panel.
Thing.
It's literally like they took a window out of the frame and just carrying it around.
And the Juggernaut comes along and tries to like beat the living shit out of it, but it doesn't work.
And the hammer.
And the hammer, yes, the hammer, of course. What was the hammer's backstory?
First they actually just seemingly destroy the Torn Prince because they kind of like back him up into like a corner or whatever like that, and they just like run at him, and then he's gone. But the Torn Prince as well, I love that design. He died in a car crash, baseball player, drag race, died in a car crash, all that good stuff. And then with the hammer looks like a Cenobite because he's got all these nails, all these huge nails like driven into his head and all over his body. But his backstory, it's Candyman.
I was thinking that as well. When I first read it, I was like, this sounds so fucking familiar to me. Like, what?
It's Candyman more or less because basically
it is
day,
it's
all that racist shit went on, and then they like nail him to a thing, but then they cut off his working hand and like insert his working instrument into his hand. What would have been a hook is now a hammer. Like a big kind of, it looks big and like rudimentary. It looks like it's almost made out of like rock, like he made it himself. It's like, and like the hammer is so intimidating because he's like this huge, like really heavy set, stocky dude with like all of these kind of pinheadish gigantic nails like through the face and like all over the chest. I think the character design is also very good, but then like we get the two like brutes, like the two like big strong dudes, which are the Juggernaut and the Hammer, kind of at once. You know?
Yeah.
And Matthew Lillard just gets his shit wrecked. Just gets tossed around.
He fucks him up. They kill him. They essentially kill Dennis, the medium, and he's fucked. He's like it's the Juggernaut, right? The Juggernaut picks him up and pushes him against the corner of a wall, and I think it breaks his neck.
He gets kind of eaten down first by the Hammer, and kind of just gets like bludgeoned and stuff. And he saw this happen earlier, actually. He's like,
he has a premonition of his death.
And then the Juggernaut picks him up, kind of throws him against all these walls, then picks him up and breaks his back against a corner of like where two hallways meet. There's like a corner there, and he like slams him into it like that and just breaks his back, and then just tosses him on the floor, and then nobody cares.
He just sort of like walks away and he disappears. Oh no, he doesn't. The spell activates because Kalina reveals that she's part of, Cyrus's plan.
You're not mad at me, are you, Cyrus? I killed my boyfriend for all this shit, and she was badass as fuck, and then she instantly becomes like pathetic, where she's just like, you're not mad at me, I did everything you asked, which I kind of hate. I remember even saying, like, I forgot that twist actually happened, and then I remember, like, right as it was happening, I remember being like, I fucking hate this twist.
Yeah. It turns her into, like, sort of, not a tragic character, but just a sad person who's,
makes her pathetic.
Yeah, it makes her pathetic, and it was, just really bad,
And I didn't like that, because then in my head, I'm like, if she hadn't have shown up, everything would have been fine, and Arthur and Cyrus's plan would have went through anyway.
Yeah.
She fucked it up, getting in there.
Because, like, she basically starts up the process of turning on the Hell Machine by creating enchantments, or it's very that scene in The Evil Dead.
It's very Evil Dead.
Yeah, like he plays the tape.
Exactly. Well, I think that's literally what it is, though. It's kind of like Varata, like it's very that, and she like puts these tapes and
Virata. Nectu.
Exactly. We kind of get that, and she's like playing all these incantations over the house speakers, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, attention all ghosts, you're wanted in the library, and everybody just like springs to action and like arrives to the fucking lobby. It's like in a hotel where they're like, and breakfast is at 9, and everybody just like arrive like to the fucking to the foyer.
It's
bring back my ghosts. Bring back my ghosts.
This is also where we get one of those last shots of different ghosts, because like they show up next to this like basically rotating machine area, and we get another fucking exposition dump of like a shot like this and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Like they're all like kumbaya standing around this big like
kumbaya, like, let's wake up hell.
That's literally what it was, though. And Arthur basically is like witnessing all this. He kind of like arrives, because then we see the two kids come up from the floor.
Yeah. Very Bond villain-esque.
No, literally, that's exactly what it is. And they're kind of in this thing with this, like, I'm going to say gyrosphere, like, which is the machine, but it's not the machine, but it's connected to the machine.
Yeah.
Because the machine also is like a gyrosphere with all these, like,
things,
biblically accurate angel vibes of, like, interlocking rings that are all, like, going at the same time.
Very eldritch in nature.
Very that.
Yeah.
And, Arthur is basically like, okay, well, like, how am I going to figure this out? And I thought this had something to do with him being, like, a maths teacher, because they, like, kind of bring that up, like, a few times at the start.
Yeah.
And even in the middle. But then it never comes to play or whatever like that. And then he sees, oh wait, we totally forgot to mention that, like, Cyrus isn't a ghost. He's just...
Oh yeah, like, he's... like, I still don't understand, like, what was the point of that? He could have just... not done that, and I don't know.
Yeah, like literally,
it's so extra for no reason.
Katrina, if Cyrus and Kalina never showed up, the entire plan would have just went off without a hitch.
Yeah.
They fuck it up by showing up.
Yeah.
And like interrupting it themselves.
Yeah.
And then Arthur basically takes the glasses off and like realizes that he's not a ghost, and inadvertently calls his grandma a bitch because he says, "You son of a bitch," and I had to pause the movie and I was like, That's your nanny though. You know?
Fourth wall broken.
Literally, and they kind of like, sorry, my hair is getting flat on one side. They kind of have
the struggles,
like a little tussle or whatever like that, like just like a little like fist fight, you know.
Yeah. But the ghosts,
like, yeah, and then he just like pushes him in.
Yeah. The ghosts like sort of like get this inkling of like, hold on, what's happening? They're sort of just
no,
like,
actually,
I just imagine
what it is
like,
Rodriguez switches up the track, and we hear like like we hear like Incantations the remix.
Yeah.
Literally. And she's doing a little mix, like doing a little like rework or whatever of this track, and then just like pulls all this shit up, and then the ghosts are like, okay, bye. And just leave the room.
They show up and it's very that kind of like, let's go watch these two dudes like duke it out over here, and they just show up and they literally like they pick him up like flat as a board, light as a feather, very that, and they just fuck him into like all the things.
After that, the ghosts just become a non-issue.
Yeah, like as if
become like not even part of the movie anymore.
Yeah, like they're just sort of like left out to dry really, because Arthur jumps in to save the kids somehow. Because the machine is like exploding.
This is where I started thinking. I was like, wait, was something about this done because he was a maths teacher? Because the gyrosphere thing would like go around for a second and then fall flat.
Yeah,
and then go around for a second and then fall flat.
Yeah.
And he like manages to get in, but then I'm like,
how are you getting out?
How are you gonna get out? Yeah. Like what was your plan, bro? You know? The lady told you to kill yourself, bro, and then your kids could be free. What the hell?
Yeah, it's very that. You're constantly looking at it going, there's questionable like decisions made in this movie constantly.
It's so terrible. And then we get Dennis's ghost like leaning up against the wall like,
he's like,
see, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Not all over. And
the machine blows up. It's just like,
the machine blows up
fuck this,
with Maggie in the room, and that lady should very definitely be dead. She was standing in front of the machine like, oh shit. As this huge, like, 30-foot tall, 20-foot wide
metal cog
is
thing,
going, and coming apart, like, literally right in front of her face, and she's fine.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of it. All the ghosts just walk out.
I actually really, really, really love this sort of like lingering shot where like I totally get it, because the ghosts are like totally elated that they're finally free, and I love the fact that they all sort of like disperse, but the jackal is the last one there, and it's just like he's just dancing for joy kind of thing, like madly into the night.
I like the idea that all these kind of, this is going to sound so stupid, but all these ghosts like got to know each other, that they're all like, let's go, you know, because we get the shot, and I think we see the last one we see kind of like trailing behind is the Juggernaut, kind of just like we get the shot of them all walking up into the forest. But then for some reason Arthur's wife can be seen. I'm like, why can she like materialize?
Yeah.
And nobody else can.
Yeah.
And why does she have no injuries anymore, but all the rest of them do? You know, and it's basically the end of Ghost. She like touches his cheek and is like, Arthur, I love you. Be a good man.
Yeah. I'll fade away.
It's like, I get so much. I fucking miss the shit out of you, bro. You know?
Oh, I love it.
The sheets are getting real crusty since you've been dead, bro.
Did you see the apartment we've been living in? That little shit has been letting me fucking fall over his scooter all the time.
I also know that we're poor as fucking can't pay any of our bills, but we have a live-in nanny.
Yeah.
the fuck?
And this is where the film ends, with Radhika literally like clawing her way out of that machine thing. And she's like, fuck this.
She's had enough of these white people's problems. You know, she does not get paid enough for this. She has had it with these motherfucking white people in this motherfucking house. Okay?
Oh, God.
And then the movie ends with a Radhika track.
Oh, love it. It's just like, this is like a music video for her.
No, for us, she's like really my favorite character in this. Because she's not stupid. She acts like a real person would act, I feel like, in a movie.
Yeah, like she's not be...
like, she's not like overacting or like giving too much. And she's not like bland fucking
no matter
like the kids.
No matter how much we chastise Matthew Lillard's character for being way too over the top, but he was the person that I mostly denote as the person who had the head on their shoulders. He was like, let's get out of here. There are fucking ghosts everywhere killing people. Let's get out of here now. We have a chance. Let's go now. You know, like was
because he knew just as much as Kalina did. You know, if not more. Because Kalina was basically like, oh, it's such irony. Because she's like, you think he liked you? He frigging used you. And it's like, see you later. I'm off to get used and then crushed. You know.
Yeah. The special effects and the sound mixing for this film, like, this is something that I found really interesting, because the film was, when it premiered, like, a lot of people, like, this is something I mentioned earlier, is like the epilepsy warning, but the way that the special effects and the sound mixing were so elaborate and so overused in this film that many people claimed that the movie was physically painful to sit through because of the amount of flashy jump cuts, which I agree with. When the ghosts show up, this sort of like flashy back and forth, like he's at the end of the hall, now he's in front of you, now he's back, now he's here. It's just, it can be very
effect with like most of the ghosts, especially the jackal, because the jackal is so
flashing disappear. It was just so annoying.
I don't mind that though. That effect doesn't really seem to like bother me, but it's also like a very 2000s kind of trope, that like strobe, like not even just in horror. Like we see it, like even in like Gladiator and shit like that, we get that kind of like that strobe effect on, but it's like post-production strobe effects. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like on camera. Somebody just took out half of the frames from the scene.
Yeah. This film is just a little strong in places, a little weak in places. The plot is a little weak.
Fun overall.
Fun.
It's fun. It's a fun movie.
It's a memorable movie.
It's an easy watch.
Yeah, it's.
But it's like, it's the kind of movie. It reminds me, because I know I did this definitely before. It reminds me of like going to get a video on a Friday night. Like it's that kind of movie, you know. And like it's one that like I picked because of the box.
Yeah,
like, the box is great. The cover for it is like I'm pretty sure it's Shannon Elizabeth's face, just like with the mouth open, but like it's made up of all these different scenes. It's one that I like really remember vividly. Like seeing in Extravision. Shout out Extravision, RIP.
Love you.
I used to live in Extravision, literally, for real.
So yeah, that's where the film ends, I guess.
Yeah, that was 13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts, man, what a movie. Definitely a memorable thing. If you have not seen this film, go watch it. It's fantastic. So just a quick reminder, at the end of each month, the last Friday of each month, we are going to have our topic discussion episode. Once again, we will put up the two choices and we're going to leave it for our audience to decide. Once again, we will not tell each other any points of views or anything like that, just like we did last time. So the first topic discussion we have selected is the fantabulous symbolism in horror, which is a really kind of deep dive talk into like really kind of a lot of things. A lot.
We won't need the months to prepare it.
Oh yeah. And then our second option is the ever sweet loving B-movie blood, horror in cheap amounts. So we kind of want to go into like the crappiest horror you can find and just like, you know, tear its ass a new one, really.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah. So it's up for debate, guys. So you'll choose and we will chat shit about it.
poll will be up on the Instagram, so let us know what you want to hear and what you want to see on the slab.
The slab. Love that.
Speaking of the future, next week we are treating you guys, seeing as it's springtime, to the 1973 classic, The Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man. We're so excited to talk about this. We're going to be having these sort of themed episodes from now on. Like, we're going to have Halloween episodes, Christmas episodes, Midsummer episodes, wink,
episodes.
wink. All of that type of thing. Oh, yeah.
I have some queer horror. Nightmare 2.
Camp, notes on horror. All of that kind of thing. It's going to be fun. So, yeah, let us know. Sound off below. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. And
what you want to hear.
Yeah, let us know what you want to hear. Good, bad, and different. We want to know what you think. And, yeah.
We've been
They're Here podcast.
Unpleasant dreams.
I wait for that every single time.